Joe, Gage, Max, and Joe. Gage, Max, Joe, Gage, Max, and Joe. YouTube live show with Gage, Max, and Joe. Never fired up and ready to go. Gage, Max, and Joe. Gage, Max, Joe, Gage, Max, and Joe. Gage, Max, Joe, Gage, Max, and Joe. YouTube live show with Gage, Max, and Joe. Never fired up and ready to go. Gage, Max, and Joe.
Nailed it. All right, we're back
Frankie
for
Valley
that.
in the Four Seasons.
Pretty much.
We need one more person.
Brado.
Behind the camera.
The one standing behind the camera here.
Mhm.
All right. Well, later on the show, we're gonna have Joshua Tuaniga on here, talk about setting, talk about everything, talk about his insane lifting abilities, because that guy's absolutely built. But Max, let's talk about physical appearances. Turn your head to the side, my man.
Yeah, I got a bit of a baby mullet.
Oh, look at that.
It feels pretty. I'm liking it so far, so I'm gonna let it grow.
I want to hear you. What was your thought process into getting that?
I was like, I want to stop having women talk to me. So no, no. I thought it was kind of funny, honestly. I'm a hockey fan, not a huge hockey fan, but I like the Blackhawks, and there's a lot of guys on that team that are just like, nice long mane going, but they mullet it in the front. And I'm like, man, that's a spicy look.
You should dress up like a hockey player one time on this podcast.
I should.
So match in full helmet.
I look like an absolute tool with it.
Well,
I kind of like that though.
I think it's the perfect time, Max, for you to inform our audience of the team rule at UH in terms of body hair.
Yeah, geez. Yeah, well, I got to get – so any hair shenanigans that you have in your system, you got to get those out in the summer, man.
Look at me.
The minute we get back in that practice gym, it is all business. And you got to look professional. You got to look the part. And we got a lot of boosters we care about. We got a lot of people in the community in Hawaii that are pretty old school. And they want us looking nice and groomed. So no facial hair, no crazy mullets, no perms.
Hair can't be past your ears, too.
Yeah, it can't be past your ears. We got a team rule on that.
Dude, but if you have a mullet, maybe
that's what I was thinking.
Maybe Chuck will allow that.
My argument would be
if it's down
all
below.
about it is arguably the most business haircut because it's business up front and then a party in the back is the idea. So we'll see if we can get them to go for that.
I want to see you try to propose that to the coaching staff at Hawaii and see what they think of that.
We should film that.
That would be – you got to walk in just straight into Charlie's office and be
just go straight into it and
Charlie,
say,
thoughts?
what do you think on this? But what he says goes. So I'm ready.
But I thought the rule was you can't put your hair past your ears, and technically your hair.
That's what I'm saying. It's short on the sides, man.
I'll give you $1 if you should show up.
Dude,
in his office in the meeting.
That would be so good if we filmed that. Just to see.
We should. Hidden video or something. Well, Max, I'm sure you've had a great day. We've had actually a terrible day the last couple of days. Our VW bus just broke down in the middle of the freeway. I saw that. That sucks, man. In the middle of the freeway.
Literally, so when Gage has it broke down in the middle of the freeway, literally, I'm sitting there. I was texting on my phone, playing some music.
Guy, not a girl.
Texting the ladies.
And all of a sudden, I just feel the car start slowing down, and Gage is like, "Oh, SHIT."
Yeah.
I'm like, "What?" And he's like pressing the gas. He just not doing anything. And we're rolling at this point.
That's
he has to go over 3 lanes of the shoulder with no gas. So he's just like rolling through lanes on the freeway.
That's so bad.
And I'm like, he made it. He's a champ. If we didn't make it, we would have just been like perpendicular to traffic.
And then our mom had to
T-bone.
Mom had to come later. We were on the way to a business meeting.
Ooh,
and
one of our first ever out-of-system business meeting.
And our mom
we can't tell you what that is yet, though. But
that's exciting, though. They're going to love it.
And our mom drives us to our freeway. We just got out of the car. We're like, thanks, Mom.
I just picture you guys got clip-on ties. Just
like
no, we literally kind of went like, I came in flip-flops and stuff. Just pure professionals here,
Just like Step Brothers. That's that one scene from Step Brothers.
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of professionals, let's get a professional volleyball player on here. Let's get Joshua Tuaniga on here. Ladies and gentlemen, the fighting Samoan, the singing Samoan, the rapid stop
All of the
mowing,
above.
Joshua Tuaniga. All right. All righty. We're joined here by Joshua Tuaniga, former national player of the year, current national player. Used to be our foe, now our friend. Josh, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Going on, boys? Thank you guys for having me.
Well,
Good to have you.
yeah, I mean, we haven't really talked. When's the last time I saw you? Now, obviously, I'm not a professional, so the last time I saw you is when we were in the national team gym together and we were having a good time. Like I said, we used to be foe. It's always an interesting vibe and an interesting kind of thing where it's like, because on the court, let's face it, we don't like each other on the court when we're facing each other. But then when we're all like kind of chilling together, it's always having good personalities, having a good time. So it's good to see you back, man.
For sure. Definitely a good time playing against you guys. Volleyball is always freaking great.
Yeah.
But top-notch guys, these guys are, man.
Appreciate it.
We've been playing. God, when's the first time we played against each other, Josh? You were on HBC.
14's here.
14s.
I think it was 14.
That's when you had that long flow, dude. What happened to that
I had
samurai cut, dude?
I had the low ponytail, man. I had the
That was not a little ponytail. That was
Yeah. I had the mustache, about 10 hairs on my it was a
14.
good time, man.
Oh man. Well, Josh. So what's the plan for you next year? Where are you gonna go to? Are you going back to Poland? Because for those listening,
If you're
played in
allowed to
Poland.
say yet.
If
I don't
you're-
know.
yeah.
You might not be allowed to say yet.
Yeah, no, we're all good. I signed back with the same team. Safe bet. I think with everything that was kind of going down, it was like, all right, you know what, just count my options, and that was, the safe bet. So signed back with the same team. I loved it over there too, so it was a good option. So yeah, going back to Poland and Suwałki.
What was the biggest cultural shock you had when you got there? You got to Poland.
Cultural shock. I don't know, man. The food is pretty different.
How
Had
so?
to get used to that.
I don't know any Polish food. What were you eating over there? What's the go-to?
Honestly, there was a lot of dishes I stayed away from just because I couldn't pronounce it and I had no idea what they were. So it was like, I'm just gonna steer clear of that and just eat chicken and beef and veggies, and that'll be like my meal. So there wasn't a ton of Polish food I was eating. It was just kind of like, all right, I was just, kind of make what I can make out here. There was a pretty good burger spot there too, so I was like, all right, I'll freaking
Good to go.
jump on
American, classic Americans, baby. Need their burger.
Yeah.
that.
So
Yeah,
that
you
was. I know in college you lived at home since you lived so close to home, right? So
Yeah.
that was your first. I mean, like you said, you've been traveling with USA. You traveled for volleyball various times, but that was kind of your first time living on your own for a long time, and not just in the United States, but now you're overseas. That's got to be like insane. Like what? There's got to be. Tell me kind of the big stuff that you kind of had to be like, whoa. Obviously, being in a different country, but then all the small stuff you kind of had to learn to do that you took for granted that like either your mom did or your dad did or whatnot.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like a lot of the little chores I was doing around the house, I was like, man, I gotta really get on top of that. Washing dishes and stuff like that. I was like, okay, now I gotta really up it up. You know what I mean? But yeah, grocery shopping. I never really did a ton of that, and usually it's just my mom going shopping, and then it shows up in the fridge. I'm like, all right, there it is.
Right.
But
I feel that.
definitely had to go on my own a little bit, and it was kind of tough from the start, just because I wasn't sure what I was doing, and then honestly, it was super it was pretty fun just being on my own and having that responsibility.
Right. I think Joe, we were at the grocery store the other day, and we were shopping with our mom, and I think she got some small condiment, and he was like, oh, I like it's kind of those small things that you don't even realize that your mom has. Usually I'd find myself, for example, we have a lot of a seasoning and whatnot, and now I just find myself getting the 21 herb mix and just for use it for everything.
It's crazy because I wasn't sure out there with just everything being Polish. I was like, dude, I don't know what to buy as far as seasoning and stuff. So I was eating things straight up salt and pepper, and that was it. So I get home, and my mom's got, she knows what she's doing in the kitchen, and same with my dad too. They're cooking it up, and I'm like, okay, now I got a little bit of an idea of what to look for a little bit.
Right. See, so for me, when we brought you on, the one thing that I wanted to do is, because we get a lot of questions about this, and obviously the Long Beach Hawaii matchups. For you guys, I don't know if you can go back to 2 years now. Gage can barely remember what the scouting report was last week. So for you guys, what was, because I'm gonna get into a little bit for us, for Long Beach, but the game plans going into the match. Let's just say like the 2019 year, because we played each other in 2 to 3 weeks. We played each other 4 times or something like that. Do you recall exactly like what adjustments or like what the game plans were and the adjustments you guys had to make throughout those 3 or 4 weeks going up against Hawaii? So I know like for Long Beach, you guys, for us, like you guys were so good triple blocking. Your offense was extremely fast. So we had to like really, for us, it was just like, all right, we have to limit like what they can do and minimize certain things and try like, because it was such a high power offense. And I was wondering for you guys, what were some of the adjustments you guys made, if you're willing to spill that a little bit?
Yeah.
now that everything's
That's all
over.
we're done with.
And what you guys did over the course of those 4 weeks to while playing us.
Yeah. Now, what was pretty cool about like those 4 weeks was just like every game was different and everything. You guys brought something different. We were trying to bring something different. So there wasn't like, okay, they're this type of team and we got to like, capitalize on that. It was like, okay, we have no idea, or like we have some idea of what they're going to bring, but they could change up on the fly. Honestly, offensively, like you guys were pretty balanced. Like, so it was kind of like tough to like, okay, where are they going to go? Obviously, you had Rado on behind, and you're
pretty balanced. Rado and Stein.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you freaking dished to the quick, a lot. So it was like, man, do not sleep on Pat or forget what's Soul Break. Yeah, these guys were freaking good when you dished it to them. So it was like, all right, you know what? Find opportunities when they were off the net a little bit to kind of, stack up on Stein and Rado. And then when you guys were in system or even in medium system around the 10-foot line, just be prepared for you to freaking throw it in there. So it was, yeah.
The one thing I have to ask too, and I guess you can plead the fifth, but we're not gonna lie, like any kind of like rivalry, there's always key guys that are like in the locker rooms. I'm not gonna say like hated, but they're definitely like keyed out. Like, all right, this is the guy we want. If you block this guy, you better stare this guy down. For Hawaii, I could guess who this is just by I know like kind of the actions that had gone on in the match, but it doesn't have to be you necessarily, but other guys in the locker room. Who was that guy for Hawaii for you guys?
Who's the guy on the dartboard? Whose face is on the dartboard in the Long Beach locker room?
Well, Rado made it easier because this fool was balling out every night. So it was like, dude, we have to stop this fool. We have to freaking stop him. And
Stein was staring you guys down, yeah? Stein was like
Stein would give us some back and forth. So it was like, oh man, let's get after it with this guy.
Dude, it got kind of heated sometimes. Not gonna lie.
Yeah,
he and Ensing all the time. I don't know how many people really notice that, but he and Ensing are always. And Ensing's a really quiet guy, so it's always interesting because Ensing was going back and Stein and he were just talking like all the time. Like that's like I was surprised to see how much Ensing reacted to Stein.
That's the thing with Kyle. Like he might be pretty quiet for majority of the time, but if you get on him, like dude, he'll get after it a little bit. So definitely don't sleep on that guy.
Dude, that's the thing about Kyle. If Kyle could probably beat Stein's ass with one hand behind his back, no doubt about that. So if there was a fight that broke out, I'd be like, that's not the guy you want to go at right there.
Guy's pretty insane, man.
But I think one thing I kind of realized in the national championship that you guys did, you guys started running the what was it? It was the pop or the float. It was more away towards the middle. Was that kind of a game plan? I was like, we did not do a great job adjusting that. You guys just kind of slammed it down our throat. When did you guys kind of realize, okay, that kind of works a lot more?
Well, it seemed like when we were like in system, Pat and Solberg were kind of jumping a little bit.
Yeah.
So we were kind of trying to like, okay, what can we do with moving around the middles a little bit and trying to change it up a little bit to where they can't really get their full big old block on top of our middles. So we didn't have the biggest middles, so we were hoping just to like change up the routes, variate the routes, or just have different variations of like routes. So it was like, okay, how can we open things up? And then, if they have to focus on us moving these routes around, that might open some things for the pin. So it was, big ups to like Simone and Nick they worked a ton on just like, okay, how can we really try to, variate the routes and go from there,
One thing you mentioned, Simone. That guy's dad is absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
That guy's dad is like
Oh,
literally,
man.
for those anyone listening, the guy is basically the guy that's just standing at the whole time, like 3 feet away from the bench, just yelling.
That's
Dude,
an enthusiastic
that guy
man
is
right there.
on
In-
another level, bro.
In Hawaii, the week of the Big West tournament, he was like public enemy number
yeah.
one. Anywhere we went, it was just the talk was about that guy.
What does Simone think about his dad going kind of crazy? That's what I kind of want to wonder. That's what I'm wondering.
Simone was pretty whatever about it. I mean, I talked, dude, like, your dad looks like he's about to explode. And Simone would be like, yeah, man, that's him, whatever. You know, that's kind of Simone's thing.
Dude,
So I was like, all right.
like sometimes it seemed like he was like trying to throw spells on us at times.
Dude,
Like,
it was
like it's
every time I would
timeouts.
look-
Yeah.
every time I would look over, I'm like, yo, like, I hope he's like not freaking saying something, you know, might creep out on something or something. I don't know.
He and Milan were having like staring contests during like breaks and stuff. They would just sit there and like stare at each other. Our assistant coach, Milan Zarkovic.
One thing we're on assistant coaches. Joe bringed up a picture of Coach McKay Smith here. That
Yeah.
guy, I love watching that guy, and I think we all, because he's like, just for those of you wondering, we'll put a picture up here. It's like, and I like, he's a great guy. I met him. He's like, he just started to like.
Yeah.
like that. I'm just like, I'm like, yes. And our coach Milan goes up and he just imitates him. He's like, have you ever seen Milan? Have you ever seen Milan imitate you? Have you ever seen that?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
He did. I got to go on a trip with him to Peru, and freaking, it was the funniest thing ever because he would walk around and give.
Exactly. Man. Exactly.
Do I really look like that? He just kept doing it. I was like, oh man.
It's the highest form of flattery from him. That's a big compliment. If he's doing an impression of you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he loved imitating McKay too.
But did McKay? Do you guys ever tease McKay? But like I said, I'm sure he's a great coach. Sure he's a great guy. But do you guys ever got to give him crap or something like that?
For that, no, not really. Just because I mean, I've known that for as long as I've known McKay, that's just how he presented himself. Like 24/7. This guy's like chest out, ready to do whatever. So yeah, man, 24/7. This guy's chest out, ready to freaking pounce.
Big chest guy.
Yeah.
So we kind of similarities. We kind of talked about this last summer when we were training together. Is that your dad also owns a volleyball club, right? So, or your family, or you were working for one. So I kind of noticed. So when we tell people that we kind of work for my dad, you get kind of mixed reviews. It's like when I see other people kind of working for their dad, they like kind of get mixed reviews because like it's family ties and you get really, really frustrated. So I kind of want to hear your take on what's it like working for your dad at a volleyball club.
Yeah. So right now, my dad's like more out of the volleyball kind of,
Right.
owning that. It's more my mom and my older brother now. But definitely when, it's obviously you just got to do whatever you can to help out the family.
Right.
That's kind of my mindset kind of going into it. There are some times though where it's like, man, like I definitely get like kind of like the low end of whatever's happening. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's just for like the betterment of the family, just kind of there to help
For
out.
sure.
Whatever you get, and then go from there. So
Yeah, I get that.
Gage just talked about Gage has mentioned his cleaning duties at their facility. Do you have anything similar? Are you on the bathroom cleaning duties?
I used to have to clean the toilet because we own a facility here. I used to have to clean the
Gotcha.
toilets. I would like clean the toilets and like vacuum, and then I have to go coach them afterwards. I'm like, all
for
right,
sure.
get water. Make sure you guys flush, so I have to clean later.
For sure, when we would go to like beach trainings and stuff, I'm the one cleaning it up. I'm the one straight putting it out beforehand. So definitely a lot of that going on.
That's the
No
thing about
bathrooms though. We didn't own any facilities, so
yeah. You kind of got lucky on kind of that end there.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
that's the
for
thing about
sure.
it. I feel like our dads are very strict, but also kind of very involved in the volleyball scene. So I'm sure you have very interesting stories of, let's say you're not playing very, very well. And then he like comes and like talks to you, because my dad was my coach, but you probably saw your dad like instead of the coach, saw him on the other sideline kind of watching you. Do you have any kind of funny stories of you see your dad just like kind of glaring you down after you just feel like you're not playing well or something happened?
man, it's like I remember just all through club year, and sometimes even college too. I know where my dad would be.
Right,
He wouldn't be
right.
where like the family was. He'd
Yeah.
be in like a separate corner,
Right.
or like even during my college games. And if I ever did anything bad, I would kind of know where he is, and I could just like, without even looking at this guy, I already.
You can just feel it.
Holy snap! I'm about to get freaking talked to when I get home or something like that.
Yeah.
So it was like a lot of games where they're like, if I wasn't playing well, I was like, man, I'm gonna hear it after the game, or
Yeah.
especially when we get home or something like that. You know, definitely a lot of stories though, just like directly after the game. I'm thinking I played well, and takes me around back and is like, "Yo, you gotta clean it up." And so definitely a lot of that. So, I mean, I probably would the same with your dad, him being that's high standards for you guys as well.
Yeah, the thing about him being a coach, he does it in front of the whole team, right? he's like,
Yeah.
he'll single you out, and then he'll get like personal with you. He's like, "That's why you never do your homework." Like, I'm like right there,
That's
like
why you flunked your test.
like this has nothing to do with that, Dad. Why you gotta tell these people these things?
Yeah. No,
Nobody-
it's crazy. That's crazy. It's like I was lucky enough to play with some of my closest friends, and my dad also coached them as well. So you know, if they were around, he had no problem just telling me how it was, and
How
you
come
know,
how come he never coached you guys at HBC?
I don't know. I mean, we had coaches in place, and he felt like he didn't really need to jump in there. He coached me 1 year. He was an assistant my 7th grade year, which was my first year at HBC. And that was it. After that, he was just like, all right, I'll just be behind the scenes, I guess.
Right. So that's the thing about having kind of a volleyball family. I mean, your sister's going to Long Beach next year, yeah?
Yeah.
Also a setter, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. I hear she's a baller. So congratulations.
She's all right. She's all right.
Does she hear you? Does she hear that right now? Is she?
Nah,
with you right now? Okay.
I think-
they're out of the house right now, but
Are you in a squat rack right now?
I am.
No
Big
way.
squat guy. I know. I thought I was like,
That's that's super Gaines thing to do. Love that.
Josh is like one of the biggest lifters I've ever been a teammate with, for sure. Like
that
the
reminds
weight
me.
some of the weight he puts up is ridiculous.
That's
Just ridiculous.
Well, I don't do the right lifts. Definitely not to be a better volleyball player. So.
for the
Or
games,
just
though. It's all about the
getting
games.
bulked up and
Buys and tries, baby.
That's the thing. So the
That's
first time
tough.
I ever played with you, you were ending your sophomore year, and I was going into my senior year of high school, and we had that lovely trip, that junior national team to Czech
amazing.
Republic. We went.
Did
I think
so
we went.
well.
We went our entire pool play without winning a game. A
single set.
A set. And we were like, okay, this is the team like to kind of like do really well for first time USA. And boy, oh boy, did we just.
I remember coming home and like, yo, we got like 13th or 14th place in the world.
Out of
And there's
out
like
of
only
16.
15 teams.
We lost to Egypt, bro. We got swept by Egypt.
I was like, holy snap, boys.
Were you guys
This is gonna be a
laughing
rough
about
trip.
it? Were you guys
It's
laughing at the
embarrassing.
time or no?
We were
I
At
mean,
the time,
When
it
they
was,
lost, I don't think they
No,
were.
I mean, like,
they
how
lost.
long did it take for that wound to heal before you could actually look at the hilarity of the
show my
situation?
face.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty quick. We had some guys who were like Michael Mao was like directly after the game was like, oh, this is pretty funny, guys. It's probably same with Gabe. So it was like, I don't know. The hilarity was inside of it. Like, man, we're losing pretty bad.
I was like, dude, we suck. It's like, this is horrible. I remember I was so glad to get home. I kissed the floor when I got to the airport. I was like, oh, America, thank you.
Yeah, no, we were gone for a minute. So
Dang.
Dude,
That's
the one video, I was clearing out my phone a week ago. And there's a bunch of videos from when we went to Argentina in 2015, the year before both of our freshman years in college. And we have a bunch of videos of you. I don't know what type of dance it was, but you were doing a bunch of dances with a bunch of local girls, a bunch of local Argentinian girls in the like coffee shop and stuff. A bunch of videos.
We'll play that in this podcast.
yeah, definitely.
That's the one thing Josh and Mike Ama, especially when those two guys, when our agent, when we would travel all together, those two were always the guys to go up on and sing in front of people or dance
Yeah,
in
you
front
guys-
of people.
You guys would. I remember you guys freestyled with Brazil. I remember that. And you guys were trying to get me to freestyle. I was like, no way that was happening. I was like, heck no.
Good call, Gage. Good
We
call.
already had some bars in there, dude.
Well, the good thing is they don't speak English, so they have no idea. I can just say anything.
They're like,
I
yeah,
want.
man, that was great.
Yeah, they were freaking vibing. You could have said anything and they would have been down with it.
Oh man. But yeah, I think that the biggest thing is that having those memories when you're younger and then kind of growing up, because like we've always been kind of like playing against each other since we were younger. So I think that's kind of cool, kind of having those memories from when we were younger, kind of bringing up, and then now, because I remember Micah, Joe, and I, we played on the same club team. I don't know if you, Kyle, and TJ were like, whoa, like we're in the national team gym, like some of the senior guys, and we just kind of looked at each other like, whoa, like can't believe like we're like here right now, like look at it, like we're like stretching, just kind of like looking around. I don't know if you ever kind of had those like surreal moments of just kind of being there, because you've been in the national team a few years now, so I might have already kind of sank in for you, but I kind of, if you've ever had that kind of moment.
For sure, especially this past summer. I don't know, there was a lot of us in the gym, and just seeing the group out there was like, man, like I remember when we were just messing around in freaking Argentina or Tulsa, or just kind of being freaking, I don't know, just being crazy.
Yeah.
And now we're at like trying to be crazy, but not so much crazy with the big dog. So definitely looking back, it's like, wow, this is pretty cool.
I think it's cool that you're, I mean, I guess I'm a part of that age group just because my age kind of fell in that range, but I think it's kind of cool. Like usually you get like one or two guys from each class, but for you guys, that's why I regard your guys' class probably as like the best ever, because you see all these names, you see all the people, like as a class, you guys moved in the national team gym. It wasn't like one or two kind of trickled in. It was like you guys were all whoosh, and you guys are like the future, which is just kind of cool to kind of think about, right? Because we've been playing against each other since we were like, what, 12? I was 12. It's kind of crazy.
He's been the young one always, playing on the on all the teams.
I remember the first time I heard this guy was that young, I was like, man, I'm in trouble, dude. This guy's freaking
every single year they're like, this guy, like he played club. He's like, this guy is, everyone will always ask, how's this guy still in high school?
I played.
Yeah, exactly.
I played 3 years of 18s, and I remember that the third year, the referees were just like look at me like I want to walk. Like this guy again. It was just kind of one of those kind of funny things.
What's up? I didn't graduate again.
Got held back.
Running it back.
For you right now, what does the training schedule look like for you? And where are you? I mean, are you getting reps in? Obviously, you're sitting in the squat rack right now, and you're able to get your gains on. But what does that training schedule look like for you right now?
There's no, I mean, right now it's just trying to find little gym time here and there, little like weight rooms here and there. There's not a ton of consistency in like my training, so it's like trying to find whatever I can get. Definitely pretty tough with things not really being open, and some people being okay with opening things and some people not. So
playing some sand.
Yeah, the beaches are open. There's no net up, so we're thinking we have like our own net, so we were thinking about taking that over and setting it up and doing that, you know what I mean, and then also trying to play with whoever is playing at the time. So
yeah,
trying to find little bits here and there, whatever I can do to kind of stay within the sport. Pretty soon I'll get in, like USA is starting to do these like bigger group trainings, like maybe 4 guys in a training session, so I might be jumping on that pretty soon before I bounce again. So
see, when are two questions here that I have for you. One of them, when are you expected back in Poland?
The first training, I think we got our schedule not too long ago. I think our first practice is like July 6th.
July 6th.
Yeah, and I'm not down with that, so I'm trying to like not go that early. We'll see.
Tell your agent to do some work for you.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
hey, magic here.
Tell them I got some. Come up with something like I can get that date pushed back.
Exactly.
The other thing, so you had a chance, obviously, club and college, to work with Tyler Hildebrand, correct?
Yes.
And I mean, for me, I've met a couple times, had a couple short conversations, but I've never like worked with him. I don't know too much. What is for your career and how you developed and your setting style? What are the biggest things you've taken from him, both from a mental side and also from a physical aspect of your setting?
Yeah, the mental side, I'd say he was a very like tough like coach. Like when coming off of like football practices and football teams, I'd come into the gym and he would have like kind of like that same kind of mentality or same kind of coaching style where it's just like, push you, grind you out, and it was like I felt like I responded really well to that. And you know, just having that tough mindset on the court was something that he kind of would instill in us when I was in high school, and then also when when I played for him like 2 years in college. So mentally, it was pretty like I was super grateful having him there. Skill wise, I mean, I don't know. I feel like this guy taught me like pretty much everything I knew about the sport growing up. I had no idea who he really was when I first met him, which was like maybe, you know, early high school. And then by the time like I got to, you know, after a few training sessions, him, you know, teaching me how to set and teaching me how to like, you know, work my way to balls. And then also he was so knowledgeable about the other parts of the game, serving, hitting, passing, that it was just like, you know, soak in whatever I can from this guy. And, you know, on top of that, I was able to like kind of research what he did, and he was a pretty freaking good player. So I was like, man, like I had a pretty, you know, I was pretty grateful to have somebody like that, you know, just kind of growing up and, you
Yeah,
know, learning the
no, for
sport through
sure.
him, you know.
For your actual like technical setting, because I mean your hands like so smooth, it comes out really nice. I think everybody knows that, everybody sees that. What is like the biggest thing that you had to change, or something that you picked up from him in terms of your actual technique and how you release the ball?
Honestly, I think from an early start, I've always been kind of like a, you know, kind of like soft with the set, like deep dish. You know, I'd always kind of like bring it in a little bit. Um, I was fortunate enough to have like pretty like strong hands when I was younger, so it was kind of like, okay, I could deep dish a little bit, but it was still pretty strong. What Tyler Hildebrand would try to help me with is like being a little bit more like not so much time in the hands. It was like get that ball out quick, be a little bit more stronger, a little more like fast out of the hands. And it was kind of like trying to find a mix of like, okay, I could do that, but I can also like still like kind of set the way I set. And you know, just, you know, trying to find that balance of like, okay, I can do that, but also like, you know, not like fully
Dish
be,
it.
you know,
Yeah,
be Tyler Hildebrand. You know what I mean?
for sure.
It was like, okay, be me, and then also learn from this beast of a guy. So
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, you can tell that everybody, all setters he works. He's back in Nebraska now, but all setters he works with, you can tell like the improvement they make in the style, like the ball out of the hands fast, and that's for me too. Like something that I am really working on.
yeah,
Because I also had that kind of like deep dish kind of flowy set, and both Brian Thornton with USA and now the setting coach that I have that I had last year, he was big, like getting the ball in my hands fast. But yeah, for me, it's finding that balance. I totally understand. And the thing is, I don't know how you feel. There's not like one set. There's not two setters in the world that I found they set the exact same. Every setter sets a little bit different.
for sure.
So it's always interesting. I think the best setting coaches that I've ever like heard talk or like worked with are the ones who kind of like let you be your own style, but they'll give you like stuff here and there, and you kind of like pick like, all right, this is gonna help. Like this kind of fits into my game. But
For sure.
for me, like I don't know. I mean, maybe you've worked with very limited setting coaches because you've worked with like Tyler your whole life. You've been fortunate with that. You haven't switched around a whole lot. But for me, it was always like I like to feel like comfortable when I'm playing. Like I don't like getting in a position where I'm trying to like force something just for the sake of forcing it. Like, so I don't know if you have that similar experience, but I know for sure that there's not two setters in the world I've ever at any level that set the exact same. Every single setter has their own kind of unique style. So
I definitely feel like setters do a little bit better with if there's trust, if there's like a ton of trust coming off the bench versus just like the bench kind of running the offense. You know what I mean? Or like, you know, just kind of controlling from the bench. So that's like when I was coaching a little bit for girls, it was like, okay, I was way more comfortable when a coach kind of just let me do my thing, and then just give me pointers when I needed them, or just give me what I needed as far as like defensive scheme. But then also like it was just, it was just like having that freedom is, I think, pretty important as a setter.
What was for you? I've been asked this question a couple times. For you going from Long Beach over to Poland, what was the biggest thing mentally or physically that you had to change from your setting, either your style or like how you approach the game?
Yeah. Well, when I got to the first few months, when I got there like 2 days before our first game,
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like,
Wow.
okay, I got to jump in. Yeah, it was like I got to jump in. We played like Jesu, which is like one of like they play Champions League, and they they do really well, I guess. And that was our first game, and I was like, oh, it's like against Kabika Shoji,
Mm-hmm.
and they were a good squad, and it was like, man, like I've only had like 2-3 days with this team, and I got to like produce because they expect me to produce. So it was kind of pretty tough going in, just kind of like, okay, I'm trying to find the feel with the team, but then also like, I still have to produce, well and have some, or else you're gonna get booted.
Yeah.
But I definitely felt like at the jump it was like a little bit on my own, just because college you have like an offensive coach, or I had an offensive coach dedicated just to offense. We had another guy who would just also dedicate just to offense, and then like 3 other setters around the team that were just like weeks preparation. We're all meeting and whatever going into the game. Going into overseas, it was I felt a little bit like less of that support. Like there's only 2 setters. We didn't have a coach fully dedicated to offense, so it was just kind of like if the head coach felt like he had an idea, he just would kind of just feed it to me and would hope I'd do it. So yeah, that was kind of like it. And then I don't know, after a few games here and there, like I gained some confidence. I found the rhythm with the team, and it was like, all right, like we can play some ball now. I can free up a little bit, and
Get used to it.
go from there. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I,
Oh, Max.
can you guys not hear me?
No, we can hear you now. We can hear you now, Max.
Yeah, we're good.
My bad. You guys got me still?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
good.
All right, cool. Yeah, so we've had Joe talk about this before a little bit about your chemistry that you have offensively with other people. So I guess going back to making that transition, and then you got to come back and you're going to be involved with national team stuff. What advice would you have for people that are watching, that are setters? Like, what do you think is some stuff to keep in mind when your hitters are changing so much? You have so many different people you got to work with in play styles. What can you do?
I think yeah, for sure. You definitely got to know your players. You definitely got to know and understand how to work with other people. I think that's something that I had to learn when I got to college as well. Just like, okay, there's like 12 or like there's like 6 different outsides on the squad, so you got to make sure. Obviously, you have to set the same system, and that's something you got to preach and constantly have that conversation about. But I wasn't gonna set TJ's ball the same as maybe Ethan Siegfried or Lewis Richards, those guys. And it's the same when I got to the other teams. It was like I had Nico Surgeon, the outside from Ohio State. I played with him for this past season, and I wasn't going to set him the same ball as like we had. Our 4th outside was kind of a smaller guy. He liked to be a little bit smarter versus just kind of power through blocks. So his ball was a little bit more. He liked it really fast and like kind of lower, whereas Nico was a little more up and down and still with the same tempo, but kind of a bigger ball. It's hitting like second red on the antenna or something like that. So you definitely got to make sure you know the system, but then also you work well with trying to find other hitters. So
Right.
That's how when I run setter clinic, I work with younger setters. I tell them all the time, like, there's not when any team I play on, every single guy has a different set. And that's one thing. Milan Zarkovic, our assistant coach of Hawaii, he was so big on preaching. He's like, the relationship between the players is way more important than going there. I mean, it's good to set targets and stuff, but you need to go develop the relationship with the hitter and figure that out. I'm glad you just said that, because I'm going to show this video to all the kids that you work with. So it's not just me saying this to them. Like, multiple.
Well, I think it's huge, man. It's huge, man.
Yeah,
I think it's huge.
For sure. Being able to adjust when it comes to kind of any position. 3-day turnaround time is kind of impressive, not gonna lie. That's nuts.
Wild.
That is crazy. But it's very like I said, any elite player is able to adjust at a certain time, or not at a certain time, but at a certain level, any certain level. So I think that's very, very important for anyone listening out there. Well, Josh, we had a lot of fun kind of catching up, and I'm glad we kind of caught you right before we had to head right back to Poland already.
Yeah, man.
Pretty rough.
Safe travels out there, man.
But thank you so much.
Having me, man.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you for joining us, buddy. Shoots. Alrighty. Joshua Tuaniga, always a class act. Always kind of good catching up with him. Definitely a good relationship. People say, how do you feel about guys you've been battling against and whatnot? And sometimes I don't like them on and off the court. Just being real. Sometimes even the guys I battle with, sometimes, you know, you're not the best of friends, but you got to make do. But with Joshua, in his case, we love Josh. You know, he's a great guy. Not when I play him, right? Because he's a very, very good player. But off the court, he's a great person and very similar situation.
The funny thing is though how like similar I'm sure our lives were to his growing up with his dad having the club, because for me, like when like Gabe said, we were in charge of cleaning everything, and so for us, I remember when after school, high school, every day we come here, we clean, and we'd run like a little younger kids camp, and it'd be like 8 to 12-year-olds, and I'd be scrubbing the windows, and then a little girl would come up and put her hands all over the windows and push. And
Like, get your hands
so
off
mad.
that.
That was something.
We would actually start yelling. I'm not even kidding. Be like, duh. And then we'd get on court, be like, that's what you get. And just coach on one for touching the
Coach
windows.
on one for touching the windows.
Oh man. But yeah, definitely similar situation. The more you kind of talk about it, I didn't really know about his club volleyball until he told me kind of last summer. So it was good to kind of catch up with him, kind of learn more about him. It's just a human being. I know we knew him, but Max, that was kind of your first time really kind of talking to him off the court, yeah?
Yeah, super nice dude though, honestly. Like even when we used to play them, he always seems like a guy that has really good sportsmanship and is really
respectful.
like really like looks you in the eye when you shake hands after a game and stuff like that. Like he just always seemed like a class act.
Yeah.
No, not like that. But yeah.
He was definitely. He's always been like that.
And
But
a beast too, so
yeah, physically, mentally, you name it. All right.
Truly.
This has been a kind of fun episode. Good kind of talking with Josh before he has to leave, which is by July 3rd, which is a ridiculous date.
This is like his 4th podcast this week.
Yeah, he's been on like 20 podcasts, you know, so.
It's on Jimmy Fallon, just super busy all week.
Yeah. Well, we've had kind of fun talking to him, catching up with him. And you know, just kind of talking about similarities. But we've had fun doing this, and this has been another episode of Out of System.